This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes,
Now you can hear me?
yes,
Thank you.
glad you're here.
I'm just trying to, okay. Hi, sorry about that.
Okay, we're gonna start the meeting now. It's 7:30.
Great,
Thank
thank
you, Tanya.
Thank you.
Bye,
Okay.
Tanya.
Thanks, Mark.
I think the first thing we should do while we still have our participants is to approve the minutes of April 26th. I hope that everybody looked at them and they had the budget items for our, what? Budget items for the budget priorities and the things. Any discussion on the minutes?
Nope.
A motion to approve?
I move we approve.
Seconded.
Thank you. Okay, so any against? Any abstentions? Okay, then they are deemed approved. I'm not going to make Brian sit through any of the rest of the meeting if he doesn't want to. I'm very thrilled that he's here representing the Bronx Council of the Arts. He is the Deputy Director of Grants and Programs. I got a suggestion that he or the Bronx Council of the Arts was interested in doing a presentation here, and we're happy to have him. So you're on, Brian.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. I appreciate that. And yes, we at the Bronx Council of the Arts are interested in connecting with community as many ways possible. So my name is Brian, as you know, the Deputy Director of Grants and Programs at the Bronx Council of the Arts. And just wanted to tell you a little bit about what we do and the resources we have available for community members, particularly artists and arts organizations in your area. And then answer any questions you might have about what we do or what we offer or what we can't do. I could just inform you. So Bronx Council on the Arts, or BCA as we call ourselves, has been around for 60 years actually. This is our 60th anniversary of serving as an advocate in the Bronx. Our mission is to be a pioneering advocate for cultural equity, nurturing the development of artists and arts organizations in the borough, making cultural connections in the borough and beyond. And so some of you may be familiar with us. I know one of the grantees we fund in your area, I think, is Kingsbridge Heights Community Center, I think might be in your area, as well as several grantees from your area. So a lot of what we do, a lot of people know us from our grant making programs. I'll talk a little bit about the things that we do. So we have an extensive grant making program. We get funds from the city and the state to re-grant out to the local Bronx community. As I always like to tell people, it's your tax dollars at work coming back to you in the form of arts funding. So we fund both individuals and arts organizations, smaller organizations of less than $250,000 usually. We, our grants range in size from about $1,000 to $5,000 on average. Our community engagement grants, which have been around for a number of years. We also have some new grants programs that started last year. One is called the Bronx Cultural Visions Fund, which is a $10,000 or $20,000 grant for new work in the performing arts, and our Bronx Dance Fund, which funds people for up to $7,500 who are either Bronx-based dancers or dance organizations. In our grant making programs, basically we fund people for the calendar year. Our grants open usually in the summer, July or August of each year, and the application deadlines are usually in October or November. And we do a lot of the panels that make decisions. We only as staff members facilitate the process, but we actually recruit community members who are a little bit aware of community and arts to be on the panels. And those panels happen in December and January, and we usually let people know about the notifications in March and give out funds in April. So that's a yearly cycle. And our other new grants, actually, our Bronx Cultural Visions Fund will be opening up this June. And that's a different process and a different timeline. But individual artists and arts organizations can apply for up to $20,000 for an actual production if they're interested in that. So in addition to our extensive grant program, we give out about now almost $800,000 a year to the borough and to individual artists and arts organizations. So it's really a wonderful thing. We're happy about that. The city had been funding more arts because of a cultural plan they did a few years ago. So in about 2018, they put a lot more funding into the arts and to the borough councils, of which we're one here in the Bronx. In addition to that, we have what we call our Sukasa program, which funds placing individual artists in senior centers, official DIFTA senior centers around the borough, to engage seniors with arts practices and arts activities. And that happens usually January or February through June of each year. Individual artists. So Sukasa is a citywide program, and the Department of Cultural Affairs, or DCLA as we call them, funds organizational placements around the city, but they fund the borough arts councils to fund individual artist placements. So we have artists who apply to us. The individual senior centers are picked by the city council people, and they give us a list, and then we match up the artists with the senior centers for those activities. We have a couple of virtual programs going on this year as well. And so in addition to our grant making programs, we have some public programs as well, which is pretty popular. One of the most popular ones of those is our Bronx Memoir Project. That's where we have writing workshops for people who are interested in learning about writing techniques in either poetry, narrative form, or short essays, where we have different instructors come for each series of 4 workshops to talk about writing. And then at the end of the year, we publish an anthology each year of several of the people who participate in the workshop can have their work published in our Bronx Memoir Project anthology, which will be available this June for it'll be our 5th volume, I think. So that's been a strong program for a number of years. In addition to that, we also do a series of artists convenings. This year we had one last week called Arts and Social Change, which we also streamed on Facebook. You could probably see that on our Facebook page if you're interested in seeing that. We had a lovely panel do that one. We have one coming up on arts and disabilities. I think that's on June 7th, and then one on June 14th on arts and healing, an actual healing workshop for artists. So we're excited about that. We also do some concerts, a few concerts around. There's one coming up in Williamsbridge Oval on actually this Thursday, the 26th, if it doesn't rain, we hope. Latin jazz artist John Benitez will be having a concert of him in Williamsbridge Oval. So we're looking forward to that. And we do some professional development workshops for artists, and those will be topics such as we did one on NFTs this year, one on social media presence. We're just wrapped up one today on strengthening your teaching artist skills. So we try to do a wide range of things that might be of interest to artists to improve their skills and to give the public art space experiences. And what we like to do in connection with community boards and community organizations is just to let them know of our presence, make you aware of what we have to offer, so we get the word out about what we have to offer to your community, to your constituents. I think that covers it in general in terms of what we offer. And I'd love when people have questions. So if there's anything you want to know about us or that we can help with, we will be happy to answer any questions.
I don't know about help with, but I'm wondering, do you go into any of the schools with your programs?
We don't do school-based programming directly. We do fund some artists and arts organizations that do school programming, but we don't do any directly ourselves. And a lot of the school-based arts programming is run through city programs, city department for what's DCYD? I can forget the acronym. Um, I think it's Department of Children and Youth Development. But there are organizations and artists who apply directly with them to do some arts-based programming in the schools. We used to do it, I think, years ago, but we stopped years ago, and we haven't gotten back into doing direct
Uh-huh.
programming in the schools. Hmm.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Please.
me.
Go ahead, right?
Thank you. Okay, so first, a disclaimer. I'm a singer in the Riverdale Choral Society and on the board. And I was on the board of the Riverdale Art Association. I'm
Okay.
not on the board now.
We
I
funded
decided
that.
not to continue that.
Okay.
So my question though is, as far as funding, first for the Art Association, we do videos now since where, since COVID, all of our shows have been video. We just started doing in-person shows, but we're also doing those shows as videos as well.
Mhm.
So what I would like to know actually is if you have funding for venues for doing shows. So, it costs us money to put on shows sometimes, and it costs money to do the videos. So I'm wondering if there's a funding source for that.
Yeah, good question. We don't fund venues specifically, but in our community engagement grant funding, what we do is we fund projects. So you would, for example, if you wanted to apply, you would apply to do a particular show that features these particular artists, and the venue would fall under that, and you can have venue costs as a part of your budget for that grant.
Okay.
So it's sort of a no, but a long way to yes. There's no specific venue funding, but venue funding can be a part of your project budget.
Right. Okay. So a project would be, say, going into a senior center
Mhm.
and maybe talking about our art, or talking about, or you're saying it would be a project with the seniors as opposed to a lecture, say.
Yeah. So what we do is we have what I call our community engagement grants, and the key thing about those grants is that in some way they engage the community with arts or arts activities. So it could be anything from a workshop directly teaching people arts like painting, or it could be a theater piece or concert. But in some way it brings the arts to community. So all of the funding that we give out has to fund projects that are accessible by the general public of the Bronx.
Oh,
So we don't fund like a private club's book reading. Won't fund
Right.
that. But
Right.
if it's a book group that meets once a month and is open to everyone, we would fund that. And so the way to think about it is the actual project that you want to do, and then venue costs may be a part of that project cost, because you might want to pay the speaker and you might want to pay the artist. We're a big proponent of funds going to pay artists and artist fees. That's one thing.
okay. Which leads me to my second question, actually, for the Riverdale Choral Society. Up until COVID, we always did concerts at nursing homes. And since COVID, of course, we haven't been doing it, and we're probably not allowed in the nursing homes. So going back to community engagement, would we be able to apply for a grant, say, to do concerts in the senior centers? Or, other venues that, because we have to pay our director to, when we do these nursing and the accompanist.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Yeah, so we would, the way, because you mentioned a couple things, so I'll address them all and hope this answers your question. We would look for proposals that were in person. I know that sometimes, things are done virtually, but we would like to, as things stand now, and they may change, I tell people, make your application as if it was going to happen in person. If things should shut down, of course, we would be understanding and work with you to do, pivot and do a virtual version of your program. So probably, I seem to remember the Riverdale Choral Society either applying or getting funding from us in the past. That name sounds familiar.
Oh, yes.
So I would say that, we have a series of information sessions throughout the summer and fall,
Right.
and where we give a little bit more details and spend some time on the grant application process. But
Mhm.
what you're proposing sounds like a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Okay. 'Cause I know that there are a couple of people from the Riverdale Art Association
Mhm.
who were going to their grant writing workshops. I don't know if this has happened yet, if they went or they're planning to go, but,
Okay.
um, yeah. I mean, I think that there's opportunities for both organizations to come
Yeah,
up with
and both of
something.
those organizations, the names sound familiar to me.
Yes, well, Riverdale Choral Society, we did get grants from BCA.
Cool.
And I know for the Art Association, Diana Katz had applied for grants for workshop grants or something, and um, we didn't get them, but
Okay.
it was understandable because that's why she's going to the grant writing workshop.
And I always recommend that if people apply and do not get funding, or even if they do get
Mhm.
funding sometimes, but to let us, ask us for the feedback on your applications, because
Right.
we keep notes of the panel process, and
Mhm.
let what exactly the questions were or the concerns that the panel had, so you can strengthen your application for the next time. So definitely have whoever's writing your grant or handling your grants, have them contact us,
Mhm.
probably in July, and we can get back to them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Anyone else have any questions? Do you also display artists work at the council? Or is it just the vehicle towards the funding and the programs?
Thank you for that question so much, Sylvia, because that reminds me something I left off of my little spiel at the beginning, which is that we run a gallery called Longwood Arts Gallery at Hostos College. So again, it's a yes and no answer to that question. So because of COVID, everything shut down, and then during the pandemic, our gallery in Hostos wound up being taken over as a testing and vaccination site.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so we did a lot of our exhibits online virtually for the most part during the exhibit. But the last two exhibits we actually did hold at our Westchester Square location, which is where our main headquarters is. We have one there closing. The closing reception is Wednesday night if you all want to come. And but we're happy to say that we're actually going to be going back to our Longwood art gallery space for our next exhibit, which is, I believe, going to open on June 15th. So, so yes, we do exhibit work. We do 4 exhibits a year. 3 we program, and then 1 the college itself programs. And that's wonderful. We were getting a stride going before COVID. One of our last exhibits had several hundred people come through for the opening at different
Oh,
points.
wow.
It was a lot
Nice.
of fun. So, but then the next exhibit we had to go online. So we're really excited about getting back into Longwood next month. It's a
Great.
beautiful place. If any of you haven't seen it, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, well, I think that the COVID has created a lot of problems for a lot of people.
Yeah, it definitely has. It definitely has. Um, but yeah, we're gonna be back there again. Excited about that. We actually had our panel last week in our gallery space. That went really well. It was nice to be back in there. Hmm.
Okay, any other questions? Well, Brian, thank you so much for coming. I didn't know anything about the council. I do now. And I'm happy to know that. And sounds like you're doing a great job.
Thank you, thank you.
And lots of luck to you.
Great,
Thank
thank
you
you so
for
much.
coming.
The last thing I'll say is, to stay in touch with us, visit our website, bronxarts.org, where you can see all of our offerings. And the last thing I didn't mention was we have a new grant. It's closed right now called Arts on the Block, where we give
Mhm.
small grants of about $750 for block parties and tenant association parties.
Oh,
Just pay for artists at those events. So we'll probably open it up again in the late summer, fall, because we close our spring edition of that. So you might want to keep an eye out for that and let any tenant associations or block associations know about that, to look for that in the fall.
Do you have a regular newsletter that you send out?
Yeah, we have an e-blast that we send out. The next one will be Thursday. We send out every other week.
Uh-huh. And could you send it to the office,
Yes, I'll make
to
sure.
our office,
Yes.
and we'll get it? So
Make sure
if
to add
there's
you.
something that hits the spot, we'll get in touch with you sooner
Okay.
rather
Great.
than later. Okay?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you. And if you have any questions, my email address is Brian, BRYAN, at bronxarts.org. And good luck with the rest of your meeting, and enjoy your evening.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
As far as the my report is concerned, the rising COVID cases have caused a lot of disruptions at the schools. Last week, I guess it's citywide, there were 11,000 cases. There have been a great deal of absences of staff and students, complicated by the pandemic. They have had substitute teachers. They were able to get some, but of course, never enough. And some of the students were asked to do their projects or whatever work that they needed to do on virtual. So they are being taken care of. The mayor is still hopeful to get the mayoral control of the schools. That will happen by June 30th. And of course, they wait until the last minute. I had read an article that they are going to tweak the mayoral control as it was. I don't know what it is that they're going to include, but we will certainly find out soon. Mayor and the chancellor are talking about using phonics to teach reading. I know that I learned that way, my children learn that way, and it has been very successful. So I'm happy that it's coming back. And I think that some of the children that have lately have fallen through the cracks and not achieved will do better with phonics. I'm very hopeful that that will make a big difference. The speed cameras will be operating 24/7, 365 days a year. Be careful where you drive. The first time that I went by PS 81, I got a $50 ticket. After that, you slow down.
You all did.
What?
I said we all got tickets there.
Yeah. There are funds out there that are going to, there's $200 million of federal relief funding that is going to provide students with disabilities services outside of the traditional school day to address the pandemic disruption. They were majorly inconvenienced, and their education was stunted because of the virus, because many of them can't use the computers. So they missed out altogether. So I'm happy that there is something being done for them to try to bring them up to par. And also the New York City schools will be spending $9 million on violence interrupters to combat violence in city schools. I read that and I say to myself, is there so much violence in the schools? I don't really know, but if this will help, I'm all for it. And that kind of takes care of my report. We don't have anybody from libraries here. Has anyone any questions? Sebastian, last month you didn't come. I had gotten information about the Summarize
Yes.
program. Uh, It had almost been filled even at last month's time, because that was the time for applications. I don't
Mhm.
know exactly why you had asked the question. Perhaps it was because of one of your children. I don't know.
Well,
But
I think the schools 24 and 81 really did not have the capacity last year. And I'm not, from what I'm hearing, they are not going to be providing it in both. 24 did provide last year, but I think from what I'm hearing, they're not going to provide again this year at 24 and 81.
oh, really?
If I'm hearing it right. So, then most of the parents are, in this section of the community board in Riverdale, they have to rely on Ampar School. It was very poorly organized last year, so I was hoping that the program was rushed by last administration, last mayor.
Uh-huh.
So we do not have any updates how they designed the program. Most parents pulled their kids out of the program after a couple of weeks because they were not beneficial. So I wanted to know if there was any update from the education department on this year's
I-
program.
There seems to be a tremendous interest in the program, because they started the applications and practically filled their 100,000 seats almost within a couple of weeks. I hope it's being run better by this mayor.
Mhm.
I can't speak to the programs at 24 and 81. I wish you would have mentioned it last time. I
Mhm.
could have spoken to the principals there and see what the story is. I can still do that, but it might be too late
Okay.
for applications.
Yeah. Thank you, Sylvia, for the update.
Um, Anything else left over from last time?
Well,
Oh,
so did I-
Roger, you sent
Roger.
a email to Roger.
Yes, so, and he CC'd you in it as well. And he said that they were trying to set up for a presentation for the Mitzvah project this month, but it didn't work. So they are rescheduling it and they're gonna try to have it in the fall.
Oh, okay, so they're waiting. Uh-huh.
They're waiting, so as long as talks continue and negotiations continue, then it will happen. I'm sure it's gonna happen, in the fall.
Yeah, well, Mr. Weisberg at 368 was very interested in it, so I can go back to him. And as far as 141 is concerned, I can try again in the fall.
Right,
Maybe she'll change her mind, or she didn't say no, but she didn't say yes either. So
Mhm.
I don't know
Right.
what her stand is.
Yeah, well, I think it was sort of, this has been such a bad semester in general, just with
Yeah.
all the craziness and the COVID and the uncertainty. So,
Right.
I sort of will cut her some slack, but if we get to her maybe in September and she has it on her desk at least to think about without being
Right.
rushed into it, I think that would be better.
Mhm.
Can
Okay,
I
we can
give a
do that.
little culture, art?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so not too much. Riverdale Choral Society had our concert on Sunday at Christchurch. We did the Brahms Requiem, which went very well considering we were all singing in masks and it was very hot. So we were also all soaked by the time we finished, but we had an amazing turnout.
Oh, nice.
Surprisingly, I mean, I don't know, we must have sold about 60 tickets, which is
Wow.
pretty incredible
Mhm.
for it being so hot and it, under the circumstances. So it worked out really well.
Great.
Oh, and I don't know how, well, I know we're going to be advertising it. Every summer, we hold a summer sing where anybody who likes to sing can come and sing. So It's actually going to be on June 22nd, which is a Wednesday. And we're doing the 4A.
Do they have to register or anything?
No, just come and we'll be singing the 4A Requiem and the Schubert Mass in G. And it's just, people, we have scores for people, and you can just, sort of sight read the music or read and sing along, but it's always a good time.
Okay, great.
That's all.
Okay. I guess that's really my meeting. We're not meeting in June. I'm giving you the month off. The schools are closed and not much is happening in June. So traditionally, I don't have a meeting in June. So I'll see all of you in September, hopefully. And have a wonderful summer.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Is
much.
there going to be a full board meeting in June?
Yes, there is, at the end of June, yes.
The end of June? And is that
I
gonna
think
be
it's
Zoom?
June 29th or something like that.
Right. Do you know if it's Zoom?
No, that should not be on Zoom. It'll be one of these hybrid meetings with partially on Zoom if you have a disability or in person. So I don't know what they're going to do yet.
No. Okay, thank you.
But it will definitely be told before the meeting.
Okay,
When
great.
when the
Thank you.
agenda goes out, you'll see, what they're going to do. I really don't know. They are wiring the conference room, but we can't have the general meeting there. It's much too small. And if they can, get another location and have the, the Wi-Fi and everything, then I guess that's what they'll do.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks so much. Maybe
okay.
they can use Riverdale Temple if somebody calls them. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Do they have Wi-Fi?
Yes, I'm pretty
Uh-huh.
sure. What day of the week? Is it gonna be a Tuesday like usual?
I think it's on the 26th, 29th, I think it is. I'm not sure.
Right, but is that a Tuesday? I don't have my calendar in front of me.
It probably is a Tuesday because most of our meetings are on a Tuesday.
Right,
I don't remember why we're having it that late, but
Oh,
yes, because of the Philharmonic is coming.
I
So
think June 14th.
yeah, so that they took our date. So
Right,
then
I see.
they had to look for a different date.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay,
See you soon.
okay.
Okay.
Take care, everyone.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Stay well.
all right, I'm
Okay.
gonna stop the recording.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.